feel like you're really far that way.
I am.
Jesus Christ. Hello.
Good evening.
Someday we'll be professionals about this.
No. Under no circumstance. Welcome to the show. We're going to talk about Spaceballs. Listen, when you watch a Mel Brooks comedy, okay?
Save it for when we're recording.
Are
you ready? Alright, here we go. 3, 2.
Now, when you watch a Mel Brooks comedy, all right, it just sort of it sort of infects your mind, and you stop being able to do jokes that aren't just spoof jokes, and you stop being able to think in ways that aren't just spoof ways, and it's like a disease, really. It's like every time a voice actor does an Arnold Schwarzenegger impression, and everyone just devolves around them and also does an impression. It just completely destroys everyone's sensibilities in maybe the best possible way, but that's to be determined, really. Welcome to CityWavesCinema. That's America. This is James. We're talking about Spaceballs.
I like how you said that's America, but I haven't said a word the entire time we've been live.
Last episode, you did that to me. I didn't say shit, and you were like, I'm America, that's James, and I went, hello, I also am here. Thank you.
Last episode was rough. We have to put that out tonight, and I'm a little embarrassed of it.
Don't be embarrassed, it's silly.
It was a rough trip. It was a rough. I think that's probably the roughest one we've ever put together.
There was not enough content. In whatever that fucking movie was.
We couldn't, well, there was a lot of content, but trying to keep it straight, and, like, I didn't get to read any of my notes, because...
Oh, yeah.
It was just, we were trying to focus on getting our story straight.
Shh. Jesus.
And we can do that, and James can't turn on stream correctly,
I'm not here today, folks. I clocked out at 10 a.m. this morning when my eyes opened.
He's really been off all day.
I am not a real person, and I had to watch a Mel Brooks movie, and it wasn't Men in Tights. And
which James says is the best one, so...
Oh, easy money. Robin Hood, Men in Tights, #1 Mel Brooks movie.
Alrighty.
Easy.
Well, let's talk about this one, though, because you watched this one.
I did watch this one. Now, there are a few things that I knew about Spaceballs before we watched Spaceballs. The #1 thing I knew about Spaceballs is that George Lucas of Star Wars fame.
In case you didn't know.
In case you don't know that titan of industry.
Like, if you don't know, are you okay?
Well, you were born in the last couple of years, weren't you? If you didn't know about George Lucas.
You're Gen Alpha, aren't you?
Boy, you must not know real words in English yet.
But you can work an iPad, can't you?
Probably better than me. George Lucas got to read the script before they shot the movie, to my knowledge, and he approved. And the only thing he didn't want them to do was to make merchandise off of the movie,
which then became a running gag in the film, which I love.
That's fabulous already.
That makes it even more funny for me, because I didn't know that until this viewing of it. So all those merchandise jokes
they hit even harder.
Yeah, they really were great.
So there's not the plot. I kind of want to break it down in two ways. The plot to the movie, very simple. It's a is it a satire?
It's a parody.
It's a parody.
Mm-hmm.
Two different things. It's a very simple plot, and there is not a lot to it. Okay? So we're not going to spend the next 2 hours of recording the show breaking down all the intricacies of the plot.
That was last time.
There's not enough here to do that.
There was too much last time.
It was way too much last time. There's not enough this time. We swung super hard in the other direction. Now, we are going to spend a brief amount of time talking about how good Mel Brooks is at writing jokes. Because Mel Brooks is maybe like a top 4 comedy writer ever. Like, so good. Very, very talented. And he's still around. Like, they just made, it's on Hulu right now. They just made the, History of the World
Oh yeah,
part 2.
Part
like
2.
That shit came out like this year.
I know.
In the year of our Lord 2023.
Have you seen
Mel Brooks is still making shit.
Have you seen A History of the World?
No, I haven't seen part 1 or part 2.
Oh.
The first time I got exposed to Mel Brooks comedy was watching Robin Hood Men in Tights. And oh my god, was it just so, it was so dumb, it was funny. And that's my favorite part about it.
I think my first one was Spaceballs.
That tracks.
Because my dad, it was required, it was one of the very few movies that was required viewing by my father. The list is a strange list, but it was on there. So I had to I watched Spaceballs late elementary school.
Man, they say the fuck word in there.
Yeah, I watched Matrix when I was younger than that. So.
Oh man. All right. Well, so here's how the plot goes down. It's a parody of episode 1 of Star Wars with a slightly adjusted plot device.
There's no Luke.
We have Han Solo, but different.
Lone
Star. So here's how it's all going down. We've got this race of folks called the Spaceballs. And they're just guys. They're just some dudes out there in space, you know? And they live on this planet that's basically a shitload of balls, just as far as the eye can see. And they are headed by this man called President Scroob, portrayed by Mel Brooks with a bad mustache. And their whole thing is that he's so bad at being president that he has destroyed their planet's air supply, resulting in an air shortage. And so they send out Dark Helmet, a parody of Darth Vader, to kidnap a druidic princess. Oh, I'm sorry, a Druish princess.
Thank you. Thank you.
And they will use her as ransom in order to steal all the air from the druidic planet. What the fuck is it called?
Radia?
What? No. I can't not know what the name of the planet is.
I'm pretty sure it's Dradia.
Dradia? No. It's got to be another play on the word Jew, because that's all Mel Brooks does.
I'm pretty sure it's like a dreidel.
Oh, really? Man, over my head.
Let me make sure, but...
Low-hanging fruit, but still over my head.
So... Keep going.
So, that's basically the plot, is they kidnap the princess, or they're supposed to kidnap the princess. Druidia. Okay. Different, but the same.
I think mine was better, actually.
I think yours is actually a little bit more clever. So the kidnap the princess, ransom for the combination to the airlock around the planet, and then they will steal all the air to supply planet Spaceballs with air. The hitch in this plan comes in the form of our Han Solo parody, played by Bill Pullman, terrific actor, called Lone Star, who gets hired by the princess's father to save her and bring her back home. So, through a shortened version of episode 4 of Star Wars, they get onto the ship where the princess is being held, and they rescue her through various hijinks, get her off the ship, go back to the planet, and then fuck off. Which is a little bit different. Then they turn back around after learning some information later. So it's real straightforward. But the golden goose of the movie is not how clever the story is. It's how high quality the jokes are. And to start, they're not excellent. But what they are is, you know what it's like? It's like when you wake up one day and you go, I just need to eat garbage today. I need so much McDonald's in
Brain
me.
candy.
Yes,
It's just brain
it's
candy.
total. It's a movie that is total brain candy. It's not supposed to be the fucking Matrix with thinking. It's not supposed to be Inception. It's not supposed to win an Oscar.
It's not supposed to be Bullet Train.
It's not supposed to be Bullet Train. It could have been any of those things if that's what they were shooting for. Because it's a stellar cast, it's a stellar writing team. Fucking Lucas's Skywalker sound helped with the audio for the movie. Like so much. All right? It's so good across the board. Quality of the jokes is top tier parody, absolutely mid across the board. These jokes, okay, they're not make you laugh like bust your gut laugh, but they are all hitters. Every joke is funny. And eventually, when I was taking notes, I just stopped writing notes about the movie and I started writing jokes down. Like I just would write the joke or the punchline to the joke
so
to
that
keep
you
track.
Could talk about it later.
Yeah, so I could talk about it. Also, I don't remember a series of fourth wall breaks.
There's so many in this movie
that are this good.
This movie has a lot of meta-ness to it too, which I enjoy. I love meta.
I think maybe it was in the trivia on IMDb that Mel Brooks has said that his favorite jokes from the movie are oh fuck, I can't remember what one of them was, but the other one was Colonel Sanders getting to rent Spaceballs before it was done being made, which he thought was great. Oh no, it's the merchandising. All the merchandise throughout the whole film.
That's a complete jab at him, and he has a good sense of humor. Because if you
at Lucas, right?
Yeah. If you don't know about George Lucas did not make money off the actual movies.
The first movie, anyway.
The first movie, at least, for Star Wars. And I think a lot of the original trilogy, he didn't make much money on the actual movies. What he said was, we make this movie, you guys can keep the profit, like pay the people, but I want all the
100% of the merchandising rights. And that motherfucker got paid.
Yeah. He wanted
Oh boy.
He just wanted all the money from the toys, and he's a fucking genius.
That is maybe one of the most sound financial decisions in any contract ever, because the movie studio thought they won huge. You don't want to get paid? Hell yeah. A sci-fi movie where the director doesn't want to take a cut of the profit? Hell yeah. You want the merch rights? Hell yeah. 100% in perpetuity. Oh my god. What a brilliant maneuver.
It's probably one of the most ingenious maneuvers in pop culture history probably ever. Like, it's legendary.
I wonder if he still retains the profit, or at least a portion of the profit, from current gen Star Wars toys.
I would need to dig into that, but it would not surprise me. He might have sold the actual company, but I bet there probably were some things in that contract that aren't super public knowledge, but I bet one of them was his studio still gets to do all the special effects. It still has to go through Lucasfilms and Skywalker Studios, or because I think that's one of them. And then I think there's some, it would not surprise me if there were some other clauses in there that was maintains certain amount of merch rights, gets final say on this or something, some little things like that in his contract. That would not shock me. He's too smart to just
forego that amount of potential money.
No, yeah. He's not an idiot.
So throughout the movie Spaceballs, there are hundreds of little pieces of Spaceballs merchandise, like t-shirts. There's at the end of the movie there's a Spaceballs placemat.
There's Spaceballs toilet paper.
There's so much stuff that's branded merch for Spaceballs. None of it was actually made or sold, as was the rule in order to make the spoof. But all of it was made for the movie, and it's hilarious. None of it's haha funny. All of it is very humorous.
Especially when you know the context.
Ridiculous. The outrageous amount of dumb stuff, like the toilet paper where every piece has Spaceballs toilet paper written on it. That's dumb. That's so dumb. That's so dumb it's funny. It's so good. What other like really good top tier jokes? Well, okay, let's do it this way. What's your favorite joke from the movie?
I'm a real big fan of the Schwartz fight.
The Schwartz fight?
Yeah. That's my favorite scene. And mainly because also, I told you, I'm a meta maniac. I love meta shit. It really just tickles my funny bone when things get meta. So the fact that the Schwartz fight, like, knocked out a boom mic guy, it's just funny. That's entertaining to me.
I think the fourth wall breaks are really good. The only other people who do fourth wall breaks this well is Deadpool and that creative team. But man, Mel Brooks did them, and they were good. I think my favorite joke is probably, oh man, I think I love how Mel Brooks does race jokes.
Is it the comb?
No, the comb was a good one. That was really funny. But I think it's in the same vein as the way the South Park guys do race jokes, but it's less vulgar. It's just no one gets a free pass. Everyone takes an L, you know? And I think that's really funny. And every joke is like it pokes and prods at tropes, but it never like just blatantly jumps on one and rides it into the ground, you know? It's always brief nods. It's never something that's so overtly offensive that you look at it and you go, "Ah, I'm uncomfortable." And I mean, I've seen that happen in lots of movies before where people just don't the writers don't know the line. It's just you go too far with it a little bit and it makes the joke worse.
Were you watching a Seth MacFarlane movie?
I wasn't gonna name names, but or any episode of Family Guy. The Mel Brooks style of it is to run right up to the edge of the cliff and just sort of stand there and take in the beauty of the sunset. And that's all you ever need. Because people are going to joke about all sorts of stuff, right? Throughout history, we've joked about everything. There's always going to be someone who's willing to make the joke about skin color or tropes about different groups of people. And I think it's not necessarily something that should be off limits to making jokes about, but I think you need to properly make the joke in a way that doesn't upset anyone. And I've never in my life heard of people being properly offended at a Mel Brooks movie. I'm sure it's happened.
I was like, there has to be some Christian mom group somewhere that is upset about all Mel Brooks movies.
Christian moms against Mel Brooks. But like you hear about people getting a little put off by Family Guy jokes or Seth MacFarlane stuff all the time. But I've never heard of anything from Mel Brooks's side, you know? I don't know. The comb was really funny in the desert. He also like he's staunchly Jewish and he always makes jokes about Jews, and that's definitely something you can't get away with in modern cinema for sure. Unless you are that. Like who else makes Jewish jokes? Sarah Silverman?
Sarah Silverman does.
She's Jewish. So like
there's a few, but a lot of them, you're right, are people of Jewish descent.
Yeah, like it's very much you can joke about it, but like you gotta be it too.
We can joke about it, you can't.
Yeah, I can make a million jokes about white people. That's allowed. I know my lane. But man, Mel Brooks does it all.
I can dip toes into some like native humor or
Latin.
my Hispanic heritage, but even then I still have to be careful because I'm very white presenting.
Yeah, oh yeah, you are.
So just ask me to speak Spanish, you'll hear it.
I even have it on my notes that Mel Brooks is the only one allowed to make Jew jokes.
Which is how South Park gets away with it too, honestly, because Matt is Jewish.
Matt Stone.
Mm-hmm.
Fabulous.
We found that out during one of the last seasons because we had to Google. Oh, it was the Hollywood episode.
Yeah.
The Jews own Hollywood.
The Jews own Hollywood. Terrific writing.
It was like the whole credits got rearranged, so it was like his name for
Matt Stone on everything. Man, you know what? Actually, my second favorite joke was the Jaws.
You didn't even tell us what the first one was.
I said it was just every race joke.
Oh, okay.
The Jaws theme being rewritten, but still having that same sort of dun sound.
Who did Jaws?
Let me look real quick. But
because it was one of them, wasn't it?
Who did Jaws?
Was it? It's either Steven Spielberg, Mel Brooks, or
I think it's Spielberg's deal. Yeah, Spielberg did Jaws.
Okay, because they're all friends, so that doesn't.
Yeah. Who composed Jaws? John Williams. Who composed Spaceballs? That's the question.
Probably John Williams.
Find out. But man, when that ship comes into view the first time, John Morris.
Yeah.
When that ship comes into view, and it just goes and goes and goes, and the Jaws theme sort of crops up underneath. Oh man, that's just picture perfect.
One of my other favorite jokes is the opening joke of the ship
just going on and on and on
because it just goes forever, and it treads one of the perfect comedy lines of this goes on for some time, but like it goes on for some time in a good way. Like it's not like you're just like, oh god, is it gonna end? Oh god, is it gonna end? But it's not like in a, oh my god, this is the stupidest thing, like make it stop. It's just like, yeah. They're like, oh wait, is that it? Oh wait, nope, it's still going. It's still going. Okay, like it's funny. It's a good time. Are you gonna? What else are you gonna do here with your many notes?
You know what I expected more from in the movie? John Candy.
Yeah, I don't feel like John Candy got to John Candy as much as John Candy can. John Candy?
As much as John Candy can.
There it is.
Damn
it.
If you're going to talk about like properly legendary John Candy performances, the list is lengthy. My personal favorite is Home Alone.
Of course it freaking is.
I mean, I know he's really good, and I know he's been in a ton of stuff. I have not seen him in a lot of stuff. I think I've seen him in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
That's all you've seen?
It might be.
I'm looking.
He's in a lot of stuff.
He's done so many.
John Candy was good.
Oh, he died the year I was born.
Yeah,
he died 2 days before I was born.
Damn.
That's rough. Well, now everybody knows my birthday, so.
Oops. I think he was fine in this movie, but I don't know that he really got to shine through as talented as he is, because none of his jokes as Barf were like all that great, you know? Barf was just like, he's very much the side character. And honestly, I didn't much care for the Han Solo spoof either from Bill Pullman.
Really?
I mean, it's not bad. You see, I don't feel like it was.
You've seen him in Little Shop of Horrors.
John Candy was in Little Shop of Horrors?
Mm-hmm. He plays Wink Wilkinson.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He was the disc jockey. Yeah. Because Rick Moranis and John Candy are like best friends.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I'll tell you who carried the fucking movie for me. Besides Mel Brooks, because Mel Brooks is always great in his own movies. Rick Moranis.
He's great in
Rick Moranis all over the damn place. All right?
It was in his prime time.
Oh,
too.
Yeah, he was top tier. And the Colonel Sanders, that guy, fucking great. The perfect straight man to Rick Moranis' ramblings, and just over the top boss attitudes. So funny. The asshole joke, terrific.
How many assholes are on this ship?
Yo, everyone in the I'm surrounded by assholes. Just great. Man, that's all so good.
Also, if you've seen The Rescuers Down Under, he voices Wilbur.
No, I get that. That's awesome. Man. I did say though that John Candy was out here working his fur off.
He does
because he does a lot of stuff in the movie. I just didn't think any of it was like really good John Candy comedy.
I think it's different because a lot of it wasn't like a lot of his comedy comes from like speaking roles.
Yeah, and this was
more of a very physical comedy for him, which is different.
You know what else was really great? When the guy on the radar machine, after it gets jammed, made all of his own sound effects. Michael Winslow, I think that was the actor.
Yeah.
So good. That guy, give that man a raise. He was phenomenal.
He's been in a
what
bunch of stuff
what
too.
A terrific bit that he does all his own sound effects. Oh man. So great. Oh, I choked on my dinner while we watched this movie.
He did.
And it was the joke, another fourth wall break, when the fucking when it dissolves into the sun after their first night out in the desert, and you just hear and it's a John Candy joke. I guess he did do a good job. Where he just goes, nice dissolve. Fuck me, that was funny. I love a good joke about the edit. And they did the joke. And you know, it was 1987 when this movie came out. You know that they had to plan that joke in, like, the joke is made in post-production, but they planned it well in advance of post-production. And furthermore, when the camera hits Dark helmet and just bonks off his face on the zoom, terrific. No one ever utilizes the camera in the movies anymore. And I mean, I've seen it like a very small handful of times because there's not really a lot of places for it to exist in cinema.
It was a very 90s
so
technique.
Good.
Like, because there were some TV shows that did it. There were lots of places that, like, the camera was part of, like, the in-universe thing.
Yeah.
And there was, like, I can think of some childhood TV shows. I can think of some movies where that was just, like, a very big thing. And now I think we're more into this, like, fully immersive, especially with CGI and stuff, where we don't want to acknowledge that this is a movie. But I feel like a lot of 90s stuff was in that world of just like, we're acknowledging that this is a movie. Like, for example, The Lion King, just because it popped into my head when they're singing Hakuna Matata. Jeez, I can't talk.
You can't talk.
Hakuna Matata, and
this is a podcast.
They get to the part where Pumbaa's about to say that he farted, and Timon jumps in and says, "Not in front of the kids," and like Simba does a fourth wall break. Like, that was just like a thing of the times. Like, that was just everywhere, where the movie knew it was a movie. And the other one I think of is Toy Story with Pixar.
And they always did
outtakes.
Parody. Yeah, the outtakes at the end.
They did.
So funny. Those were so good. Those were always so good.
Yeah, and it was...
The boom mic in the shot in Toy Story, Woody getting stuck in the tape roll. So good.
Yeah, there's lots of, like, really solid humor, but that was, like, the thing where even animated movies acknowledged this is a movie.
It's funny to talk about it like a movie.
Yeah. And so I think that's just a thing of the times, where right now I think we're very much in this day and age where we need to fully immerse you and not let you think about the fact that this is a movie. And I think a lot of that comes from escapism. I think that's a very millennial thing, that, like, we don't want to think about the fact that this is, like, we want to be immersed. We want to escape. That's why virtual reality is a thing. That's why 3D movies were so big for a little bit, is because we want that line to be gone. It is fun, and like I said, I love me some meta, but I think that the sign of the times is I want to pretend that my life doesn't exist for this period of time, and I need you to make that happen for me. We see it with video games. We see it with, I mean, it's a sign of like the social media times where like Instagram versus reality, like that whole thing. People are in so much more of a space where they don't, and especially with how shitty the past 3 years have been, nobody wants to pretend that this is real life. Like, no one wants to acknowledge that this is real life. We want to be distracted. We want to escape from everything. We don't want to think about the outside world for 2 hours or 3 hours if you're the Batman and Oppenheimer. But yeah, that's my spiel on pop culture right now.
What's the joke where Dark Helmet went, nah? Like, what's the context? Because all I wrote down was, nah. and I feel, I remember that being a really good joke that tickled my fancy, and I can't remember what the context of him going, nah, was. I don't remember why he did that.
I can't think of it right now. But I love that that's the only note you...
I just wrote nah.
Also, that's like an ongoing gag is nah. Like, so there's a few people that say that. So that, like, I cannot help you with that one. Sorry. I can look it up. Talk about something else for a little bit, though. I'll see if I can figure it out.
A joke that aged like milk was matched luggage.
You also said that about the Ford joke, too.
The Ford Galaxy? Yeah, because they don't make the car anymore. And it's not the fault of the writers. They couldn't have predicted that 50 years from the time the movie came out that the Ford Galaxy would no longer be in production. They couldn't have guessed that. I can't blame them for that at all. But the Ford Galaxy doesn't exist anymore, and if you try to show this movie to like a kid, they're gonna go, "What the hell's a Ford Galaxy?" They won't know. But I know that that's a car, and so it's still funny to me. But I'm probably amongst the last of the people who would think that's a funny joke. Matched luggage? Nope. That was a joke that either went above my head or is just too old for me. You know, I don't really get it. But that's okay. You know, there's more than enough jokes in this movie to go around. The scene where Dark Helmet's playing with his dolls after they capture the princess, all of that was ad-libbed by Rick Moranis.
Of course it was.
It wasn't in the script initially, and they made it up on set, and they went with it, and fuck was it funny. It's just cringe enough to be like, oof. I have a production issue, actually.
Oh.
That I mentioned. It happened twice throughout the movie, and I know we're kind of like skipping all over the place with the plot and stuff, but there's really like the plot could have taken 30 minutes of television, and they put so many jokes in that it's actually an hour and a half. But there's a scene when they first get to the yogurt statue.
Yogurt.
And they have smoke coming out of it and everything, and yogurt's yelling at him and shit. And there's a cut to an angle that's kind of a close-up on it, and they slowed the footage down. And I'm not sure why. I couldn't possibly know unless I was on the cutting room floor and I could see like what they had to cut with, like what footage they actually had when they got to the edit. But they slowed the footage down because now when you shoot for film, traditionally you want to shoot at like 24.97 frames per second, which is almost 25, but not quite 25. And it gives it a very classic film look. You want to do your like video game renderings at like 60 frames or even higher than that. You want to do slow motion at the most amount of frames per second so you can slow it down and still have it look crisp and clean. But when they slowed down the footage, on the statue. I'm gonna make a wild guess and say that they slowed it down to where it almost looked like it was going about 20 frames per second. But it kind of looked like if a scene from a video game had a couple frames drop and it just like really ground down to a crawl. And you can see it if you look at there's torches in the scene and there's smoke coming out of the ear of the statue. And if you look closely at it, you'll see the smoke is moving much slower than it was in any other shot of the yogurt statue. And the flames from the torches are flickering back and forth in slow motion. Um, so it's definitely slowed down footage. I just don't, I couldn't figure out a reason why they would do it because everything else was happening in regular time. Like all the audio that you could hear was happening in regular speed. So my only assumption is that they did it because they needed the footage to last long enough to cover the audio and they didn't have enough footage. So they had to stretch it, which you can do in some instances when your shot is still and nothing's moving. But when stuff is moving, you run the risk of, breaking the illusion and showcasing that it's something weird's going on in the background. And in this case, I think you're probably not paying close enough attention to it to notice it. But because I work in film and I deal with frame rates all the time on all sorts of different things, it immediately caught my eye that the footage was slowed. And if you have to do it, you have to do it. And back in 1987, you're working with actual film and you're cutting it with actual like blades. So, there's only so much you can do. And once you make a cut, you can't go back. So, or you can, I suppose. There's ways to do it, but I was never trained on them. I learned word vomit. I learned in a digital era where most of my editing can be done with very little consequence. I can fucking get away with murder in my editing because I can always go back and change it if I need to. Hooray for technology, right? But it happens twice in that particular setting. So I'm wondering if they just didn't get enough footage there. Anyway, that's just a little thing that I noticed that I was like, huh, that's weird that happened.
While James was telling you all that, I did track down the clip you were talking about.
Nah.
It was when they were doing the Spaceballs video cassette.
Oh, the rental.
Yeah.
And but they also do a who's on first joke at the same time.
Yes, they do. But like right at the beginning of that whole scene, they do the whole like, well, no, you can see it before the movie's done. And he's like, nah.
It's just flat out denied it. That shit made me laugh, first of all, because it's a blatant break from a general rule of comedy, which is to never shut something down. But also, just the way Rick Moranis delivered the line was just so great. He's like, he takes the beat, and it's a perfectly timed beat where he just goes, eh? Nah. Oh my god, it's fucking great. So funny.
Rick Moranis has excellent comedic timing.
Dude's a legend.
Which is why he was so popular when he was popular, is because that he fit perfectly in.
He looks like such a little dork, but he's so funny.
He's responsible for a big section of my childhood with like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids,
Ghostbusters.
Oh,
dude's a legend.
He's so good.
Man, all right. Let's see. What else did I notice that I either gave a shit about or didn't give a shit about? Smoke 'em if you got 'em. That's gonna die. That joke is going to die out as cigarettes get way less popular.
It barely hits now because like I haven't heard that phrase in. Nope, couldn't think of a time. Sometime in the early 2000s, maybe.
Oh, the Virgin Alert.
The Virgin Alert is a good thing to wrap this episode on.
That's a pretty good gag. It only happens once, but man, that whole sequence in the build up to the Virgin Alarm or the Virgin Alert happening is just a really good use of physical comedy as you just fast track this romance that has uh no proper build at all.
And they're
It's
really
such
and they're playing into that a lot
Yeah.
too, where she's like, "I'll never have," and he's not buying into it. Like, no, you'll find some like a normal like rom-com couple would, or even like any like love interest story on the thing. I'll never. I don't. I'm just gonna be lonely. I'll never need physical attention. Like, you know that the next line from the boy is supposed to be like, "You'll like, no, you deserve that. You find somebody," and it's like he's hinting that it's him, and then she's like just 100% like baiting him, and he's just like, yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Yep.
good.
And
Sounds like a great plan.
they just constantly get their faces within like inches of each other through the whole scene.
Because she just keeps going.
Yeah,
turning.
they just keep turning directly into each other's faces, and it's, man, a great little bit of physical comedy, especially with the necklace bit throughout the whole thing. Also, what a fucking plot device the necklace turned out to be.
Oh, yeah.
In the era of having items be your plot devices in your movies, that one is oof.
I 100% forgot what the necklace said. Like watching it through this time. Even though I knew the ending, I legitimately forgot what the necklace said. And we're gonna leave you with that cliffhanger of what did the necklace say for the next episode. Because if I don't stop us now, there will only be one episode.
It's true.
So
That's
we will
true.
be right back. All right, y'all. I was gonna do the vote. James took away my mouse and keyboard to save things, which normally happens after we make the vote. But James isn't here right now.
I'm not checked in. I'm on another planet.
All right, I will make the vote.
I'm gonna deal with it.
Sounds good. Alrighty, everybody. Let's do voting. T-shirt time. All right. We got Mary Poppins. New. That's also not how you spell Mary, America. All right. Then we've got Mamma Mia too. Mamma Mia. Here I go again. My. Thank you, Green Gorilla. Then we've got Frankenstein, because we've watched the other Mel Brooks movies, so why not watch this one? And then we're doing, your last choice for this week is Road to El Dorado, which I believe is 2 words, but I don't know for sure. Alright. Y'all get 5 minutes and we'll be right back. I agree. I like Young Frankenstein. It's also that one. That one might be my favorite Mel Brooks. It's so good. Roll, roll, roll in the hay. Roll, roll, roll in the hay. Yeah. I've seen it on stage too. Honestly, it's excellent. I'm gonna give last 30 seconds, although I'm pretty sure Green Girl. Are we just gonna roll through Mel Brooks? I think this is well, now we have History of the World on the list too, but it'll be a little bit before we get to it. Hmm. Alrighty. Closing it down. See, James's is absolutely Men in Tights. I mean, he said that earlier. But yeah, let's see, next time it'll be Sing. Sing 1. James hasn't seen it. It's cute. It's dumb as fuck, but it's cute. I like it better than Zootopia. Yeah, cool. Alrighty, Young Frankenstein it is. We shall watch it next time. Next time is not gonna be for a little bit. That's why we did 2 weekends back to back. The next time you guys will have a CityWavesCinema will be September 9th. We should have enough content for the podcast, so podcast won't be missing us too much. Because we did this extra week of recordings. So see, we're gonna put out Bullet Train 1, Bullet Train 2. So we can do a double drop there. And we'll do Young Frankenstein. Or not, Spaceballs 1 and 2. Or no, it's Spaceballs 1 and Spaceballs 2. Yeah, so it'll work out perfectly. Our uploading time will not be affected. No, it's just, okay. So next weekend, my grandparents are in town. The weekend after that is our 6-year anniversary. And then we'll be back. I just had to, and this one was supposed to be tomorrow night, but we had our plans cancel for tonight. So I just bumped it up so we could have a full day tomorrow of not doing things. Which we haven't had in a minute. It's just we're super busy. This is our busiest time of year is the second half of the year. So from the June to December, we are just thanks, Green Gorilla. We are just constantly busy. So we have in September, we have our anniversary, and then we already have the second weekend booked, and then I'm booked on the 15th. And then James is going on his boys' trip the first week of October, or the second week of October, or the end of the first week, something in there. And then our friends are throwing a Halloween party. And then we're going to see the Book of Mormon in November. And then we have Thanksgiving. We're not sure what we're doing for. And then Christmas. So really? Ours is on Labor Day weekend because I wanted to always have the weekend off for my anniversary. So we got married on November 1st, or not November, September 1st. We got married on I thought because 9, that's why 9. So yeah, September 1st, 2017. We got married. it was great planning. I mainly wanted to schedule it then so like people from out of town could come to the wedding. But I also thought about for the future, like we'll always have the long weekend to do something for our anniversary. This year we're going to go to our last Meow Wolf because we've been to all the other ones. The Meow Wolf in Grapevine, Texas. So we will be there for our anniversary, kind of experiencing. I think probably one that's going to wrap up a lot of the plot because they're all interconnected and there's so many similarities between this one and the ones that we've already been to because I've seen pictures of it on Instagram. So I'm pretty excited because I love me and James honestly genuinely love Meow Wolf. I love the company.
Big fan.
I like everything that they do. So going to get to see it is exciting. We've been to every single one. And we've made a point like to go, I think, other than Santa Fe, which we actually saw last, we've been to every single one during opening year.
Yeah. Yeah. Within a year of it opening, we've been.
Because we went to Omega Mart like that year that it opened. It was later on in the year, but and then we went to Convergence Station the year it opened, like 4 months after. Because it opened in September too. It opened in September or August. And this one opened last month. So super excited. Been talking about it for about a year actually, since we figured out when it was going to be. It was originally going to be our 4th of July. We were going to go out for 4th of July weekend because we thought we were going to have a long weekend for that. But it didn't open until the 14th. So my anniversary trip instead. Whatever long weekend I had next was when I was going to Grapevine. Now? I gave him water.
It's just in the fucking hole.
He just wants attention. He did this during last stream too.
Yep. I gave him more water also.
So now he has double water?
He's got lots of water.
Whoopsie. Did you spray his paws? That was what I asked you to do. Instead you gave him water. You can wait. Well, no, because if he needs pain, he needs it to dry. So yeah, that's the next month. It's the next 6 months. Or 5 months, however many months are left. 4 months. And then January will happen and we won't do anything until March, really. Which will be my 30th birthday. I don't wanna turn 30. I'm going to Mexico for it, but I don't wanna turn 30. I'm still 13 inside. I'm just a child with a drinking permit. That's really my entire personality. So yeah, we're gonna finish My Friendly Neighborhood tomorrow. So regular streams shouldn't be all too interrupted. It's just really CityWavesCinema. It's a lot of our weekends that are taken up. The stupid heart gets in the way. I'll turn way older than that soon. You've told me many a time how old you are. And I don't think it's that far away from us. But it's like... It is that far away. Like, does that make sense? It's not like you're, like, super much older than us. But you are...
Slightly.
Yeah. Like, isn't it 10? Doesn't he have 10 years? 5, 4, 3, 2, 8, 7, 6? I didn't say 6. Alright. Ah! Alright. You ready? Ready? I don't know what we're going to talk about. You want to make a game plan before I just
That's
jump into that?
That's a good idea, because I'm running out of shit to talk about.
My humor's old, so that doesn't. The only thing about me that's old is my skeletal system and my sense of humor. I don't get these young people jokes.
I don't know, maybe I don't have enough to talk about to make a fucking second episode.
Well, I'm about to help.
Maybe Mel Brooks tropes. Like always having him be.
Well. Welcome to what might be the shortest episode in CityWavesCinema history.
You know how Tarantino's got this weird thing with feet?
I don't know where this is going.
Directors do the same shit all the time.
I thought Dan Schneider had a thing with feet.
Dan Schneider has a thing with children.
He also has a thing with feet.
No, I'm gonna get fucking bullied online for that one.
That's common fact now.
Yeah, he's fucking.
You're
right. No, he does have a thing with feet. Fucking creep.
Yeah, there's the iCarly did the toe people.
Nickelodeon, get a hold of your fucking producers.
He's responsible for so much of my childhood, and now that's a lot of it's.
It's tainted. It's all tainted by that
bad.
fucking. So you know how Tarantino has this thing with feet?
Yeah, sure.
It's a foot fetish, but it's a lot less creepy.
On a scale of 1 to that particular client I used to have, how obsessed with feet?
I mean, he probably wouldn't say it. Probably wouldn't say it out loud, but you always get bare feet in a Tarantino movie. Always. Always get bare feet in a Tarantino movie. You know what you always get in a Mel Brooks movie? Besides jokes about Jews?
Potty humor?
There's some of that for sure. But it's always...
Dick jokes.
Dick jokes also. Mel Brooks is such a good director because he doesn't take himself too seriously.
Meta jokes.
Meta jokes, yes. All common traits of the Mel Brooks movies. Race jokes in general as well. But my personal favorite is how he's always in his own movies.
I mean, and so many directors do that.
So many directors do that, and a lot of people do it like cringe, but he makes himself like a proper character in his movies, and almost always a suit-wearing villain.
I don't know why. It just bothers me.
Why? Would it have been better if President Scrooge was played by another person?
It's not like Mel Brooks that bothers me. It's just that idea. I don't know. It always feels really egotistical to me to direct something and then write yourself a part in it.
Well, Tarantino does that also.
There's a lot of directors that do it. It just, to me, as someone who was in the arts and has been an actor and been a director, it always feels super egotistical to me to be like, I'm the star of my own show.
Well, but see, that's the thing of it, is I feel like, for the most part, directors don't make themselves the star of their own movie. There are exceptions to this, of course, but especially with Mel Brooks, he always plays, first of all, the bad guy and a hapless dumbfuck all the time. It's always his role in the Mel Brooks movies. Is he in Robin Hood Men in Tights?
Oh, look, you
figure that out.
You go on about what your whole thing is, because you still haven't gotten to the end of it.
I don't know. I just really like all his personal cameos. I also really like that his character in all of his movies is always seen cavorting with some sort of... Oh,
he old as fuck now.
Yes, he is old as fuck now. His characters are always cavorting with some sort of hot young lady, which it's never like explicitly shown. Well, that's not true. It is explicitly shown. But, you know, explicit for a 1980s movie. Also, the fucking ratings board from the 80s should be thrown away. Just thrown away entirely. Spaceballs is rated PG, and there is an audible fuck in the dialogue. Like, they say shit twice and fuck once. You cannot make a PG movie today where you say shit twice and fuck once. I wish you could, because Shrek would be a lot funnier. Yes.
Rabbi Tucker.
Rabbi Tuckman.
Yeah, is
Terrific.
who he was in Robin
Oh
Hood
yeah,
Men.
he's the rabbi. Yeah, man. I think the ratings board, either from the '80s needs to be thrown out, or the ratings board needs to be thrown out from now, because the MPAA doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. They've never, to be fair, the MPAA has never known what the fuck they're doing.
They always make up the rules. There's not an actual freaking guide, really.
You can get away with so much gratuitous sexual shit in movies now that you never could have gotten away with in the fucking '80s. But you also can't swear.
There's also like
I don't understand it.
I'm gonna fight back on that because I feel like for more sexual content you get a higher rating, or you are required to have a higher rating than you used to. But like, remember when I made you watch Goonies?
Oh, that movie's fucked.
And you were like, "How is?" I think it's PG, isn't it? Goonies?
I think it's PG. Goonies can't be more than PG.
Like it's either
There's
G,
no
it's
shot
either
it's
G,
PG-13.
it's either G or PG. But yeah, it's definitely not PG-13. And there's like a actual penis. Well, it's a statue, but
It's PG.
Yeah, there's a whole penis on screen for quite some time, and they talk about pissing in your face. And
Chris Columbus wrote that shit.
No fucking way! I didn't know it was Chris.
Chris Columbus wrote the screenplay, and Steven Spielberg wrote the story for the Goonies. This brought to you by the man who directed some of the Harry Potter movies.
It is a statue, but it's still like there's in a lot of the displays, like if you put the statue of David in films now, you have to like display it so you don't see the area.
Which is so stupid because that's part of the statue. Like, I don't know. The MPAA has never known what the fuck they're doing, and
they make it up every year. They legitimately do.
I mean, all rules are made up, but I like an example of their just almost lack of oversight is how bad that new show on HBO is that's got The Weeknd and Johnny Depp's kid in it.
Euphoria?
No, The Idol.
Oh, I don't know that one.
It's all I've seen about that show is it's one step down from pornography. Like, it's so, like, and
I mean, the same thing could be said about the Harley Quinn animated series. Is
there just gratuitous sex in that? I haven't heard shit about
the
that.
Valentine's Day episode. I don't remember the exact context, but I think Poison Ivy has an orgasm so bad that like end of days happens basically.
What?
Yeah, like there's an explosion. There's an explosion. There's time.
Oh wow, that's a hell of a cast.
It's a great cast, and the show's really funny.
Smooth.
But it is raunchy AF. It's up there. It's the better version of Velma, honestly, because it has a lot of the same.
Wait, you mean it was written by someone who knows what the fuck they're doing?
Yes.
Sorry, Mindy Kaling, you really dropped the ball on this one.
That way, which is so weird for her, because she's had such good. I mean, she did. I think it's Never Have I Been Kissed, I think is what it's called, and she did the Mindy Project, and the Mindy Project's fucking really good. It's really good.
Velma has a 1.6 out of 10 on IMDb.
Velma sucks.
We have strayed.
And there's a season 2.
Well, yeah, there's a season 2.
Yeah, because everybody fucking went and hate watched it. Why?
Listen, I don't know if Mel Brooks could make, like, if Mel Brooks was 25 years old now and was starting to write movies again. Well, let's see. He was, what, 40 when he was making these movies in the 80s?
I'm trying to think if there's anybody comparative to him right now.
No, there isn't. Because no one makes spoof movies anymore. Parody...
I'm going to circle back to the whole... I mean, they do, but they're not nearly as good, because we have, like, there's all those parody movies...
Oh yeah, that are like streaming on Amazon and shit, like the parodies of the
Hunger Games, The Hangover. They did a 300 one.
It's because those movies have become C-tier movies.
The Twilight ones.
They're just C movies. They're like movies that film students make right out of college, and it's not. You're not. first of all, you're not good enough yet. Don't. It seems like such an easy thing to do to make a good parody. It seems so simple because you watch one, right? And every joke is so approachable. It's all so easy. It's all so good and fun. But the minute you put the onus on yourself to try to write something that's spoofy, it gets so bad. Like the closest, you know what's better than the Hangover games? The Park Night.
Hey,
You know why?
you can find that on YouTube.
I wouldn't recommend it. I love it with all my heart. Passion project from my childhood at this point.
If you were an adult,
but
okay.
I'll tell you this right now. If Mike could rewrite it, he would.
Oh, if we could refilm it, I would.
If we could reproduce the Park Night, flesh it out to be like 30 minutes instead of 11.
If we had been able to make the Park Night, we almost had to do like a Snyder Cut thing, like where we had to leave a lot on the chopping room floor
if we
make it under time.
And that's just a fucking college film. Like, that's some old garbage shit. But Mike straight up wrote a spoof of a Batman movie. And it was really funny.
It was I enjoyed that script. I enjoyed acting in it. It was a good time.
I can't think of another parody thing I've seen. Like, okay, you know what is close to a good parody? The Wayans brothers. And all the scary movies that they did. Not the ones after they stopped, because they got way worse in quality. But like the first couple scary movies are really fucking funny. They're a little edgier than Mel Brooks' stuff, but it takes a really particular type of individual to make properly good parody. And even then, if you were to watch like this movie that we just watched and then go and watch Scary Movie, you'd look at Scary Movie and go, oh, it just doesn't hold up, or it doesn't hold a candle to it. And while you're not necessarily wrong, you're looking at a titan of parody, and the next best thing is the Wayans brothers, and they're very good. It's funny. It's good movie. I mean, it's well produced, at least. The SFX are great.
I'm making a lot of cringe faces because I'm not a huge fan of the scary movies, but
it's fair. But they're cult classics right now.
Yeah, I can acknowledge their merit. There's some things I can't. Like I'll live and die on my Seth MacFarlane hill.
I mean, Seth MacFarlane writes the same 4 dick jokes in a row, and he just recycles it he's a machine.
He just doesn't know when to like stop. He really like lets
his jokes run till they run out of gas.
Yeah,
and then they somehow continue to roll. But I don't know. I think Mel Brooks is such a good writer, and is just so he had such. I say he had like he's dead. He's still alive.
You know what's a good parody?
What?
It's and it's honestly
if you say Movie 43, I swear to God.
No. I don't know what that is.
It's a bad parody.
No, and honestly a good parody, and it's gonna sound really silly, but they did Lion King 1.5 in our lifetime, which is a parody of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. Which is a play.
I mean, if you're gonna make Disney movies about plays, may as well do that one.
I mean, it was really cool because they did. I mean, Lion King is Hamlet, and then Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead is like a is playing off of Hamlet, and then they made a parody of that with Lion King 1.5, and it was honestly really well done. Like it's just, and
it's Shakespeare for kids.
It really is. Disney doesn't have an original thought in their fucking brain since Walt died, and he barely had any.
He stole a lot of shit, but he had a couple of good ideas.
I wrote a whole paper on how most of his artwork from the early times was ripped off from Caspar David Friedrich, so...
It's true and fair.
He also just rips himself off. Like, eventually they, like, just started reusing animation, because it saves money and time.
They just keep writing sequels like they're good.
Nobody asked for Frozen 3 or Zootopia 2 or Toy Story 5.
No one wanted Zootopia 2. The first one was fine, but it wasn't good. It was just fine.
How did we warrant no one even hate watched that, so how did we warrant a second fucking Zootopia?
It'll be canceled, don't worry.
Ugh. God, I can only hope. I can only and Pixar used to be so good, and now that because they're part of like the Disney
They're just in the machine.
their
Well, I
shit's
mean,
going downhill too.
it's not even that those movies are bad. They're just not even getting fucking. They're just not even getting any fucking advertising. I don't. What's the last Pixar movie to come out?
The lowest ranking Pixar movie of all time, which would
Yeah, it's fucking
that one that just came out that I don't even know the name of.
It didn't even go to theaters.
Elemental.
Yeah,
Elemental went to theaters.
Did it?
Mm-hmm.
Oof. Oh no. Was anyone interesting in it?
Couldn't tell you. Don't know much about it. Heard it's cute. Heard people cried because it's a Pixar movie. It's required.
I mean, it's probably well written. It's got a 7 on IMDb with 36,000.
I've honestly
reviews.
heard it's good, but the issue is everyone just was like, "Oh, well, I'll see it when it comes out on Disney Plus."
Boy, there ain't nobody in this movie. I don't know any of those people.
Honestly,
no, like Ruby Gillman. That's not Disney, but it's. I think it's DreamWorks. That Squid movie. Terrible.
But
no one's making anything.
Spaceballs.
Spaceballs. I don't know. I'd like to see someone do a properly good spoof with 1 instance of the word fuck, 2 instances of the word shit, and
I mean, technically.
What?
Technically.
Oh god, we're gonna get into technicalities.
And technically, I'm correct, which is the best kind of correct.
Oh no.
Deadpool is a spoof of superhero movies.
That is true. But also Deadpool the comic was a spoof of
superheroes. Deadpool's just been a spoof of superheroes the whole time, but I'm saying you can have your parody cake and eat it too.
Deadpool's the only one who can have his cake and eat it too.
It especially when you do like solid. I'll never like one of my favorite scenes in any of the Deadpool movies is when the entire X-Men New Class
was just in the background of the shot, and then they shut the door. They're not here.
Wasn't it Evan Peters? Quicksilver. It was Quicksilver.
Yeah,
just like went.
He just closed the door. You had everyone from the X-Men movies in the fucking background.
The entire X-Men team. All the X-Men were in there, and it was
the Deadpool movies. The Deadpool movies are a weird mutant of movies because they're very spoofy in the way that they're written, but also they have plot and lore and interesting IPs in them that are not like just straight ripoffs. They have like originality to them. And so it's tricky to call it a strict parody of superhero movies, but at the same time, it definitely leans on the parody comedy.
Something you haven't talked about from your notes, because I'm looking at James's notes because he needs help today.
I'm not right.
You want to talk about that kiss at the end? Because that was one of my least favorite things.
Jesus Christ, Bill! Fucking close your eyes. This motherfucker right here has a kiss at the now. Wait a minute. Before I get real angsty about it,
you didn't tell them the whole medallion. You haven't told them any of that.
Oh, I mean the medallion's whatever. It's the pinnacle plot device where it just says in a foreign language that
it's his birth certificate.
It's his birth certificate. He's a prince. Okay, great. That means he can marry the princess. Hooray! But they go get married. It's a funny little ceremony, and he goes to kiss her, and he just keeps his eyes open the whole time, and it's like. I don't know. It feels distinctly uncomfortable to watch an on-screen kiss where one party is just eyes open, like an inch away from the other party's eyes. That's just a weird thing to see, and I didn't like it. And Princess kept her eyes closed for the kiss, but Bill Pullman, man, just fucking close your eyes, my guy. Just close them. Oh man. Oh, it's uncomfortable. All right, what else? Feed me more. Feed me Seymour.
The alien joke.
Oh yeah, they got John Hurt to reprise his role as the guy who gets bursted from the alien.
The alien burst from him.
Yeah. Oh man, that's pretty good. That's a good joke.
Why is this movie not as good as Robin Hood Men in Tights, in your opinion? Because you're really adamant about that several times in your notes, and I'm just curious.
Several times?
Yeah.
I thought I only said it once.
Twice.
I think, to me, having seen them both now, Robin Hood Men in Tights, I think, just is better written. And I think it's not to say that Spaceballs is poorly written, but I think Spaceballs leans a little bit more into jokes of a phallic nature, jokes that are simpler, jokes that are more sex heavy. And it's not to say those aren't in Robin Hood, but I think there's less of them, and it makes them better when there's less. It's like, too much of something is always going to be bad.
Do you hear that, Seth MacFarlane?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't listen to the show. If he does, we have to have him on. And we'll just roast the shit out of him. No, the jokes in Robin Hood, I think, are just better executed. I think, honestly, getting Carrie Ells to just be Carrie Ells on the set of a Mel Brooks movie is just a perfect match in heaven in and of itself. Because he comes straight off of The Princess Bride into Robin Hood Men in Tights. I'm pretty sure. I think they went in that order. And he plays the same character in both movies. Because Robin Hood in Robin Hood Men in Tights is just Wesley, but a little funnier and a little worse at fighting, but also way better at fighting. And it's way less serious. But I don't know. Man, also getting Dave in the movie. Oh fuck. No, brain. Oh god, brain, no.
What?
Who
Dave?
else? Well, it's Dave Chappelle, but who else? Who else am I thinking of that was in Robin Hood? I mean, Dave Chappelle was just phenomenal in it.
I'm not good with actor names, so don't ask me.
Richard Lewis, who played the prince. Roger Rees, who played the sheriff. Mark Blankfield, who played Blinken. Man, what a dumb joke, but so funny. I accidentally opened it. Man. Blinken the whole time was just so funny. And you know what? In this movie, in Spaceballs, it didn't really feel like the jokes just flowed like one after another, like a really good comedy set from a stand-up comic where the jokes just flow one into the other. It felt a lot more like, we're going to do this set of jokes, and now we're going to do this set of jokes. And they weren't all strung together like really well. However, the whole time the Spaceballs are on the desert planet, it's a riot. I mean, Dark Helmet having like a fucking stereotypical safari gear as his costume. That's great. That's so funny. Combing the desert, hilarious.
So something that should be noted is the order of these movies too, which might have something to do with how you feel about them.
Okay.
Which actually is not the order I thought they would be in.
All
but
right.
it goes Blazing Saddles,
Terrific.
Young Frankenstein,
I've heard it's terrific.
Spaceballs,
All right.
and then Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Interesting.
Which is not how I thought that order was.
If you look at the ratings too, Men in Tights is, I believe, the least well rated of all of those. I think Spaceballs should be like a 7, and I think Robin Hood is like a low 6.
6.7. And yes, Spaceballs is 7.1. History of the World, which comes right before Spaceballs, is 6.8. To Be or Not to Be is good too. It's also 6.8. And then Young Frankenstein is a solid 8. and Blazing Saddles is 7.7. See, in my opinion, and maybe you'll think this too after you see it, Young Frankenstein is my favorite.
I'll have to watch his Young Frankenstein, and then we'll see.
Well, you're going to.
Oh, I'm going to?
Next time.
Oh, hell yeah. Mel Brooks every week. Bro, let's just run his catalog down.
It'll be like...
He's really good.
It's like when we finished The Flintstones. Like, it was just...
Yeah.
Or the Hangovers. It was just like, let's just roll them back to back.
Just keep
back to back to back. Let's go. Finish it.
I almost want to do a whole episode just dedicated to Robin Hood Men in Tights. Like, maybe just a one-off episode about Robin Hood Men in Tights.
We can talk about it, but we're coming up on our 100th episode here, and I'm about ready to cash in on a promise that was made, so...
Oh, God, no.
I have to count, but I'm pretty sure we're close.
Oh, no, I don't want to. We got to cancel the show before then. I'm going to cancel the show at 97.
Rude.
I'll cancel the show at 102.
That's just how we go out. That's just the end.
It'd be a hell of a run. Just end it on the fucking...
I mean, it's always polite to finish.
Hey, oh! Stop it.
What about, you haven't talked about pizza.
I don't give a fuck about Pizza the Hut.
Okay.
Man, I didn't give a shit about that. I didn't like it, if I'm honest. It would look gross. I didn't like that bit at all. Let's just get that shit out of here.
The other thing you had a note about that you did enjoy was earmuffs.
Oh, that's just a little gag. I love that because it's a parody. So she's got the cinnamon bun hairdo, and then
we call those space buns.
Whatever. Dot's talking to her and she can't hear it, and she takes off the hair. It's just a headset. Like listening to music. It's great. It's just little stuff like that, you know? Movies need to do more little bit jokes. And who said it recently? Someone in a movie recently said, "Oh, your boy Adam Devine said," and it got taken out of context when it went viral on the internet. But Adam Devine recently said that he thought Marvel movies have made making comedies impossible, that's a little bit out of context. I highly recommend reading his interview. I believe he did it with Variety, but I could be wrong. Adam Devine did an interview where he talked about how no one's ever going to make another Pitch Perfect. No one's ever going to make another one of those little comedy movies that's lower budget. Like, you're talking like a $10 million, $15 million, $25 million movie, when you have these blockbusters, especially Marvel movies. Well, I mean, I say it's a blockbuster, but it's a fucking Marvel movie where every character has just the comic senses of a god, and they're just written to be these funny motherfuckers. Like, I think he's onto something where it's like people are shelling out, or production studios are shelling out enormous amounts of money to get people to write, or not to get people to write, clearly, but to get these fucking movies to have these comedy bits in them. And while they're welcome, we've ridden the horse to death. We're beating the horse to death.
I think you'll see, and I mean, we have seen it, but that bumps into a little bit about what Matthew Patrick said too about
Disney being dead.
Well, yeah, and just the studios churning out content after content after content. Just for
they could learn from Bendy.
Just from the record, here, since we still are in strike time, we are not promoting or supporting any of these companies that we're talking about. In fact, if you listen to any of this, kind of
mostly
quite the opposite. But I just want to make sure that that's out there for legal purposes. But second of all, yeah, you have these big studios that are just churning out fucking content, whether it's good or not, because you can slap on a family name on it, like Star Wars, Toy Story, Frozen, Harry Potter's guilty of it, because God, I know what. I'm not going onto that.
The best thing that's come from the Harry Potter universe in the last couple of years has been that fucking crab dance. Eddie Redmayne is a hero.
Whoever wrote that should have written the rest of the shit for that movie or for those movies. So you just have these studios that are churning out content, whether it's good or not, or whether we asked for it.
Man, fuck Tina.
Or not, and it's not. It's oversaturation in a market, and so, and yeah, you're right. When you're getting all these comedy bits, it's the same thing. I think we'll see, and we have seen a lot of comedy go to TV, where we have like Only Murders in the Building, and like a lot of the really solid comedy writers. Obviously, not right now. But all of the really solid comedy writers are going into TV, or they're making their own shit. For example, like a lot of the new ones are making their own shit. Markiplier is freaking hilarious, but he's gonna make all his own movies and also star in them. Mark's falls in, but he's a no narcissist, self-declared. Right. He's self-declared narcissist. He said that.
I would like to see a somewhat prominent director get the funding from a studio that is not Disney and parody the fuck out of a Marvel movie.
Well,
just absolutely spoof their shit. Mel Brooks can't. He's like 97. What?
I wasn't done with any of my thoughts, but
continue.
I'm
sorry. No, you go.
It's okay. I was going to talk about Dropout TV too, because a lot of this young, good talent is making their own shit, which, good for them. Like, honestly, like, because now we're in this world where you don't have to write for a famous name to get out there. Other people, like Ben Brainerd from TikTok, Youth Pastor Ryan, Call Me Chris, all these really fantastic comedians that are just able to make their own content and make money off of it without having to go through the route of being like a stand-up comedian or a comic writer or working on SNL. Like, they're able to go out there and do their own thing without having to have that extra support on the back end. And so I do think that there is a change that's happening where we're not going to see as much comedies in the big screen, because all those people that would do the writing, because eventually the writers that we have aren't going to be around, all those people that would take those places are able to make more money doing it themselves. Now I'm done.
Well, there's not really much else to talk about Spaceballs. It's good.
Let me see if you have any final notes.
All right.
Sorry.
I mean, it's just...
You didn't talk about the Dinks.
What is there to say about them?
I don't know.
They're just funny little guys.
You had strong thoughts in your notes.
What did I say? The fucking Dinks?
Yes.
Yeah, it's funny. They're funny.
Okay.
They're just out there, all they do is say Dink, and it's just one guy who did the voice lines for it.
Who's not credited.
Oof. Studios, come on now.
I've made way too many gagging noises in this particular episode.
Yeah, let's do war. Seth MacFarlane, Seth MacFarlane, Seth MacFarlane.
No, that's just gonna end up getting you...
Oh, is he gonna show up?
It's like Beetlejuice!
That motherfucker's in the bathroom mirror right now. It's like Bloody Mary. He's over there. You just
hear fucking Stewie's voice in the distance.
Shut up, Batman. Fucking hey.
Yeah, no, I don't think that... Yeah, there's a lot to say anymore, but I think we did touch on it. I told you this is probably going to be a short episode.
I want to see more shit like this. I want to see people spoof big stuff, because, and this is prime time, okay? This is just like you've been talking about for the last 2 hours. We are in a content surplus, and all of it's trash. You get one diamond
out of the pile of turds every once in a while. Like, Last of Us was really good. Just blink. Only Murders in the Building. I'm trying to think of a movie that came out recently that was Barbie. Like, there have been things that, like, come out of the crap factory, but there's not enough good to dole out the surplus of just mediocre to bad.
I think we are in a prime time currently to get some real clever writers, to get some real clever directors to spoof the shit out of some of these just stinker IPs now. Like, give me a spoofed Avengers with a proper good director and well written.
Wouldn't that just be The Boys?
Ooh, I might agree if it wasn't a comic already. It's technically an original IP. But it is kind of a parody of superheroes.
But again, TV.
Again, TV. I mean, the last God, we've watched the same shit happen in every Marvel movie for the last 5 years.
Well, I don't like Marvel.
You didn't like Marvel long before that.
Well, I've never liked Marvel, but it's
every Batman movie is exactly the same. You don't fucking frown about it because it's your franchise you like. DC heroes are epitome of losers. The fucking.
But their villains are great.
Sure, that's true. I don't know, man. Like, I want there to be good superhero movies. Like, I want to remember how dope it was to watch Iron Man 1 for the first time, where you get just perfect Iron Man casting with RDJ. And, dude, that was such a good movie.
I hated that movie.
No one asked you. I'm
on this podcast, and yes, people ask me. That's part of the thing, is they hear both of our opinions, and I hated Iron Man. I hated it so much, I haven't really watched another Marvel movie that wasn't X-Men since then.
Every X-Men movie is the same shit. Every X-Men movie is just like a less interesting Avengers, and the Avengers already suck.
You really liked the Batman?
The Batman was great. It was really dark. Just like...
in more ways than one.
It was kind of like they got the Game of Thrones guys to do it the whole time. But, man...
yes to the question.
We need a good spoof of some of the stuff that we have going on. Like, give me a good spoofed horror movie again. Like,
do we not count the Winnie the Pooh movie? Because I count that.
That's no. That happened. That happened because Winnie the Pooh hit the public domain. Okay. And actually, I don't even think Winnie the Pooh hit the public domain. I just think their likeness hit the public domain.
No, it was the actual Winnie the Pooh. The likeness is still under trademark, so your
okay.
Your yellow bear cannot have a red crop top.
But he sure can look pretty close.
It's that 16% rule.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've had near misses in recent history, like with that Winnie the Pooh slasher movie, and
I really want to watch that movie.
You know what else we have, that actually came out of order, with all of the Five Nights at Freddy's bullshit that's existed in this world. What's that fucking Nick Cage movie where he doesn't say a word and just kills animatronics inside of One Night at Wally's?
Yeah.
Or something?
It's Wally's. It's something Wally's.
Something Wally. It's
Wally's Wonderland. That's what it is.
Wally's Wonderland. That is a parody of the animatronic horror genre of stuff.
Willy's
Wonderland. I want to watch that movie specifically because Nick Cage doesn't say a word in it, and I think that's insane. But also, he costs a lot of money if he says words.
They did it for another reason. I think it was either MatPat or New Rockstars who was talking about it. And it might have been the panel I went to, so I wouldn't even be able to pull it up. But there was another reason that it's
probably in the trivia for the movie,
that he didn't talk, and it actually had to do with Five Nights at Freddy's. so I don't remember what it is.
We're going to get a Five Nights at Freddy's movie
So excited
from Blumhouse, a little studio that makes banger horror movies.
I'm so excited.
The trailers have looked great. The casting is phenomenal. We'll see if it's good, but we already have a parody of it before it ever even came out.
They really tried to cash in on that before.
Honestly, I think Willy's Wonderland might have been even better if they had waited until Five Nights came out. But let me get Mike on the phone, see if we can write some shit. We'll rehash the park night.
I mean, they always say that in the entertainment industry. Like, if you see that there's a space if there's a space, you should be the one to go jump into that space, even if it's something small. Like, I mean, Mark kind of did it when he did his whole heist with Markiplier and In Space with Markiplier, because
Bandersnatch hit Netflix and it was outrageously popular.
And Mark literally looked at it and he's like, you can do that with links and videos and just...
Yeah, that's so easy.
And the only way you get access to those certain clips is with that link. Like, it's really easy to set up on YouTube.
The way YouTube is structured, perfect for doing that. And it's like a movie's worth of content.
It's a lot, and if you do the multiple endings, you're there for...
It's maybe like 3 hours worth of content.
And then you have In Space with Markiplier and In Space with Markiplier 2. Like, he just saw a niche, and he's like, I can do that. Let me just
dig into it. I bet you he's made a lot of money off of those. And as he should.
Well, you have to think about it is every one of those, and if you're thinking about the YouTube algorithm, every one of those is a click to your page, so every one of those is adding to your... And then the amount of replayability... So you're getting those watch minutes in, you're getting those completed watch minutes for finishing the whole clip, like you're getting that traffic where you're each time someone's tapping something that's from your video, so then it's being directed to another one of your videos. All of that adds to that algorithm.
Dude, the AdSense on the first episode of each one of those things alone has got to be outrageous.
Yep, because then you have to go back and click that one from the page.
And that's the only one you'll ever get a commercial on, is the first one. Mm-hmm. You'll never get a commercial for any one that you click through.
Yeah, so it's
smooth.
It's
so
brilliant.
Smart.
So if you see that opportunity and that place,
let me get Mike on the phone.
That's your cue to do it.
All right, well, I guess Mike and I have to write a fucking parody.
And film it and find people to be in it. All those things.
I've got a Joker. He lives in Arizona.
I think that is a wrap. We didn't get to talk very much about the movie. But we had a lot of good conversation. We will be watching Young Frankenstein next time if you missed that little blip. And your guys' recording releases will not be disrupted, but the live recordings will be by our schedule the next couple weeks, but that's why we kind of crammed this one in here. Because it works out absolutely perfectly for the releases. So everybody have a wonderful, awesome time, and we will continue to be in your ear holes. Bye.
Bye. You know what else would be good? Spoofing Indiana Jones.
That one's definitely been done. By anyone who's
Sherlock Holmes.
That has also been done.
Who?
No. Hang on.
Who spoofed Sherlock Holmes?
First of all, a lot of people. Second of all, it's hard with... Okay, so you gotta kind of stray away from those, super big-time characters, because as far as spoofing, they've been spoofed in every piece of media ever. Anytime someone slides through a door, grabs something on the other end of it, they're spoofing Indiana Jones. So, you gotta...
Can we spoof Percy Jackson?
As long as you hit the 16% rule, yeah.
Where it just has to be 16% different?
Yeah.
That percentage is so low.
What am I looking up?
I don't know. No. You know what? We must spoof anime.
That's also been done.
Yes. One Punch Man is just an anime spoof. but it's been done in anime. We must spoof anime in real life. What that means is we just have to do everyone looking like a Jellicle cat.
I'm sorry, did you mean the movie Cats? I don't know. It's called LARPing. What I was gonna say is you want to stay away from those big name characters, but if you did something like if you did do superhero spoofs, or you did this new Toy Mania spoofs, like where you make movies about stupid toys. Things like that.
Let me do spoof the zombie tropes.
Isn't that what Zombieland is?
No, Zombieland is just proper good zombie shit.
I feel like there was one of those ones that was Lego Star Wars. All the Lego ones are just parodies. There's your parody movies, James. They're hiding in Lego form.
Lego movies. We already have the Lego movie, though. And that spoofed every fucking Lego IP there is.
Well, yeah, now you have Lego Batman, you have Lego Harry Potter, you have Lego... They're doing some stupid Lego right now, and I can't even think of what it was.
Are they really?
It was a TV show or something. And I was like, oh dear God, why are we doing that? They just announced it.
Oh, Lego Disney Princess.
That's what it is!
Oh no.
And I was literally like...
It was dumb enough when we had the Lego Ninjago movie.
I was like, I don't want this. Literally, listen, Lego Ninjago actually was a show, I think, but I think they did like the root. I don't think Ninjagos were a toy until the show.
I mean, the casting in it is outrageously good.
Lego Ninjago went for several seasons. Like, it was super
Lego Ninjago
popular.
has a movie.
Yeah, it was super popular.
Lego Ninjago.
But only like with a very niche demographic, because I never watched a single thing.
Like Beyblades.
Yeah, it's just things like that where I'm like, yeah, no, that word was everywhere for a little bit, and then no one talked about it ever again. What's the other one? They're robots too.
Ninjago Masters of Spinjitzu went for 152 episodes.
What are those things called? Those toys, the robot toys.
Oh no, Ninjago just spoofed anime. I can't spoof anime.
What is it called? Oh, it's old. It's an...
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It starts with like a Bionicle.
Oh my god, Bionicles. Bionicles were
I was
the
like,
shit.
it's this weird metal robot.
Bionicles were the shit.
That's what it was. It was Bionicle. Oh god. Yeah, no, there's... All your parodies are just hiding in Lego toys. But that, again, that's still TV. I'm telling you, all this shit's gonna move to TV because it's more expensive to make a drama TV show than a comedy TV show, but it's more expensive, like, it's easy form for TV, where you don't have to spend a lot of money. I mean, the Modern Family had like 3 sets for a little bit. You have one for each house. Yeah, no, I don't really have anything else.
I got nothing. I'm not in my right mind.